For this episode of the Nigerian Theatre Witnesses to History, I'm in the presence of a great theatre artist and someone who is making waves in the field studies at the University of Uyo. He is one with a long thread of experience spanning Calabar, Ibadan, and Uyo. And so we're going to have an exciting time today with Professor Effiong Johnson, who will be introducing himself and how he got into the theater to us now. You're welcome to the Nigerian Theatre Witnesses to History. Of course, it's a program that has been crafted to enable theater artists tell their history, because we believe that in the last 50 years, not enough of documentation of the contribution, important contribution of people have been captured for the use of studies, research, and that is the focus of what we are doing. We are on YouTube, on Facebook, and we invite people to join us in having this exciting tour with Professor Effiong Johnson. We welcome you. Can you tell us about yourself and how you became a theater artist?
What a privilege for me to be in front of a camera to tell the world my own history as a theater artist. Let me start by quite appreciating the indefatigable Olaniyan for this exercise. So I quite appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
And particularly for finding a costly space like this to accommodate someone like me. I am most humbled by this privilege, and I won't take it for granted. My name is Effiong Johnson. I am from Akwa Ibom State here. In fact, my grandfather's house is number 175 Aka Etinan Road, Uyo. I didn't know much about theater arts until after my school certificate examination. I was playing professional football, and I had watched the Antiquities Football Club of Jos practice, and I told the coach that I could play. And the man said, "Really? I look pretty small." He said, "Yeah, I could play. I was captain in my secondary school." So he blew a whistle and asked one person to excuse the field and put me in his place. And I played so well, and the man took me by hand the next day, and I was given a job in National Museum Jos. It was that job, because I was a library assistant, one Yoruba gentleman who was a librarian interacted with me during break time, and then he said, "You speak so well, you should be in the library with me." I wasn't originally posted to the library. I was posted to the pottery division, where I was explaining artworks to tourists. He actually brought a friend, this librarian actually brought a friend to the pottery, and when he heard me, he said, "You speak so well, you should be with me in the library." He took me by hand to the library. It was in the library that students of Theater Arts Department,
in
University of Jos, used to come to do research. That is how I became acquainted with some of them and got to know about the discipline known as theater arts. And I linked it up with what I was doing in secondary school, in the drama club, debating society, and so on. I began to have somewhat interest in it. That my family had settled that I should read law. As God would have it, I ended up reading theater arts.
Was your father a lawyer?
My father, my mother were not lawyers. Nobody was a lawyer, but they felt they took a decision, being the last born in the family, and that I was very good in literature, I was very good in argument, I was very good in keeping things in my head. I must be the family lawyer they were waiting for. In fact, my JAM form was supervised by the family. Law first choice Ife, law second choice Nsukka. There was no room for any other course. But I had just become a Christian in the Christian Union or Scripture Union then. And after they took the form from me to go and submit, I went into my little room and said, "Oh God, help me, in case you don't want me to study law and be a lawyer in the future. Go to JAM and change the thing for me." Oh. Do you know God went to JAM and changed the thing for me?
No, tell me.
And when the result came out, we were then living in Lagos. We had moved from church to Lagos with family. And the results of JAM then used to be pasted on the University of Lagos auditorium. I went to check Ife and Nsukka for law. I checked and rechecked. I didn't see my name. I had forgotten I had prayed. It was not until another young man we went together who had chosen Unical for his own courses shouted and called me to come and see something. Behold, as I went, my name was in Unical for theater and communication. That is how God directed me to studying theater arts. And I guess I have enjoyed it more than any other thing I would have studied.
I believe you.
That is how I went into theater. And with the potentials as an actor, as a writer, as a director, as a critic, they all came alive in that discipline.
That's right.
They all matured in me in that discipline. They all turned me into a proficient artist in that discipline. I am grateful to God, and I'm grateful to my parents for trying to force me to read theater arts that made me pray.
Pray. That's
because
right.
Perhaps if I hadn't prayed, I
would have gone for law.
Would have written, yes. That's how I came
to
into
Unical
theater. And I read theater arts in the 4th batch of students admitted to study theater arts in the University of Calabar.
That was good.
Yes.
Did you enjoy the experience?
Oh, you can say that again. Right from day one, you know, there's a particular life about theater people.
I know.
There is a particular family orientation that is inherent in theater people.
Yes.
That you can't have in any other discipline.
None.
There is a bond. In Calabar then, staff and students engaged in the same production. There was that mix. There was that closeness. I mean, the lines between staff and students were dissolved on the production grounds.
That's it.
That made it very friendly. That made you aspire for the best in such a scenario that people, you know, could mix freely.
Yes.
I enjoyed it. And in Calabar then, auditions were open to everybody. There was nothing like, you know, handpicking people. Everybody was given a level playing ground. If you excel in the audition floor, you were given just any role. That is how my first production was to act King Duncan in Macbeth, directed by Dexter Linderson.
Wow. That's a good director. That
was a super orientation for me.
You must have impressed him.
Definitely, by the grace of God. So do you know that I was the last born in the family. My 2 senior brothers flew into Calabar to watch my premiere production.
Ooh.
And they did not recognize their brother because I was an 86-year-old King Duncan, played by a 19-year-old brother. So I started from the scratch, as it were, to truly, really enjoy theater arts, and I'm still enjoying it today. As you can see me today, I was dressed for my studio work with the year 1 students, and I'm happy about it, and I really enjoy it.
There's something about God being very faithful when He chooses for you to do what you love, what you really love,
yes,
as your work.
Yes.
That's what happened to you.
That's what happened to me. You see, brother, when God makes any choice for you, that is the very best you can get. Even if it's a wife, if God has a hand in who you marry, that's the very best you can get. Because He's all-knowing, and He knows the end from the beginning. If I made a choice with all my limitedness, I would not have known several years apart. But God had known how I would end up in theater arts. God would know how you would end up in marriage and make a choice that will accommodate your shortcomings.
Yes.
Or make a choice that will enable you to interest above the demands of the discipline.
Yeah.
That is what has happened in my own case.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, after Duncan, which other roles?
A catalog of roles.
Were you?
Yes, I'm going to list some. And folks said I had a good voice, I had a good charisma on stage, I easily pick lines. A lot of things went for me. So from that first semester exposure, I was like a hotcake. I played Daud in Shoinka's Kungi's
Harvest.
I played King Creon in Sophocles' Antigone. I played the father, the captain in The Father. I played a sketch in Oedipus Rex. I think I played Tiresias. I played Nebuchadnezzar.
He's gone.
I played Nebuchadnezzar Ifagbeni in Oshovison's Who's Afraid of Sholani. I think I played some of those are roles. I also directed many plays.
I know. Oh, you started directing from school?
Yes, I started directing from school.
Ah.
Yes.
That's interesting.
I started directing from school. Sketches,
right,
and departmental productions. And then we floated a theater in the Christian Union known as Shalom Theater.
Okay. In that time. And Shalom Theater more or less competed with the departmental, theater, productions, because theater arts students were many in Shalom Theater. Shalom.
And we just transferred knowledge, transferred application from the modern theater stage to Shalom Theater. So we wrote, directed for Shalom Theater and gained somewhat of expertise in Shalom Theater, which hastened our proficiency in the real stage.
I can imagine that.
Yes.
I can imagine that.
Yes.
Now, who are your favorite teachers? I know Dexter would have impacted you so much.
Yes.
But who else impacted you in
then
that
in the
time?
University of Calabar, it was like almost schooling abroad, because most of our staff were foreign. So apart from Dexter Lindase, we had Danny Lindase the wife.
Yes.
Dexter taught us technical theater.
They both came from Ibadan to Calabar.
And then Danny taught us theater history and acting, and sometimes a bit of design, because she was very creative.
Yeah.
And then we had Raymond Green and his wife for music and theater. We had Danny Blackburn for dance and choreography. We had OVL Johnson also in dance.
Yeah.
We had Gloria Hart in speech, communication, acting, and sometimes I think literature of the arts.
Okay.
Then we had Frank Speed from Britain, Dr. Frank Speed on television production and radio, broadcasting. Then we had Mr. Niebong, and Niebong was into criticism and theater theory and dramatic theory. We had Sonny Samson Akban in theater and education. We had Michael Baroque, and then we had, later on, we had Chris Mwamo.
Oh,
Chris Mwamo. Those were the people. Okay, we had Dikbo Kalejaye.
Ah, Dikbo. Yeah.
Dikbo Kalejaye in that team. We lost Abimbola Ojomo.
Oh, okay.
Yes, those were our teachers.
Right. I played for Michael.
Okay.
In his production of Oedipus Rex.
Interesting.
In 77 in Ibadan.
Okay.
I was in the chorus.
Wow, interesting. So those were the people that impacted on us in Ibadan. I mean in Calabar. Yes, and Dapo Deluba was the external examiner who used to come from Ibadan in our time.
Right.
In fact, that is where I first met him.
Okay.
Yeah, so those were the people that made us.
What was your first impression of Dapo when you saw him in Calabar?
Dapo exuded some awe because we had been told that the man coming, and who had been coming because he was external examiner, I think 2 years before my time, and he had been for a 5-year term. So the head of department had told us the man coming was a thoroughbred.
He was.
That we should be ready because this man was meticulous, this man was very disciplined, and he was an epitome of theater knowledge.
Yes.
With all those adjectives qualifying Dapo, those of us thought some god, some demigod was the one coming to examine us. So we had to fasten our belts, we had to read and reread to, present our defenses before him. Yeah. That was my first impression. And then in my own particular instance, I worked on dramatic and aesthetic analysis of Kokro at Dawn.
Oh, okay.
Network drama
That's
program.
right.
That was what I researched on.
Frank Eagle.
Yes. And when Dapo came, we had prepared for our defense, and that afternoon, while preparing, just random preparation, I'd gone through my work, then I was just reading other things, just in case.
Yes.
I had to read The Method by Stanislavski in Oscar Brockett, The Theater and Introduction.
Yes.
Do you know God was just helping me? That same God that had asked me to read this course had gone into the mind of Dapo to prepare me to meet his mind. Do you know that the first question Dapo asked me in the defense was, you couldn't have done this kind of work here without having some foundational knowledge in the method. Tell me about the method.
No.
This was what I read in the afternoon. And I said, my God, the method, I just read it according to Oscar Brockett in his book, The Theater and Introduction. The method that was said, stop, Abimbola Ojomo, go to the library and bring Oscar Brockett. Let me prove this young man right or wrong. Abimbola, the library was 2 doors away from the conference room, went to the library and brought Oscar Brockett, The Theater and Introduction, I think 5th edition, and opened to the page. Behold, I was right. And that was it. Now go on. So I went on and said 1, 2, 3. And that was it. Stop. Now, young man, let me tell you. If you ever have need to do a master's program in Ibadan, don't hesitate to come and see me. Brother, that's how I ended up in Ibadan.
Open check.
Yes. That was, to the glory of God, the best project in my set.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
And when my family fortunes dwindled, I couldn't go abroad after the first degree. I had to remember the open check that
to
God
be in
gave me.
Ibadan.
And I went, and the man fulfilled his promise.
Speaking in this very interesting edition with Professor Effiong Johnson, and you've heard how he became a theater artist, not by what he knew to do. Actually, it was by prayer. There was an intervention that he couldn't explain. He never applied for the course and was given that course.
Yes.
And he stuck with it since that time to now. Continue watching the Nigerian Theatre Witnesses to History. Like and subscribe to our channel. Leave comments so that we can come back to you with notes and with acknowledgement. Until we see you next week, it's bye for now.